what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do here at Nike? Man, and I could not answer it. I was thinking that he would find, just by getting to know me, my background, my character, that he can be able to put me in a place that I would be able to thrive. I wanted him to answer the question for me, and that didn't happen. And I missed out on a on a huge opportunity to be in this deal that was blowing up at the time. Welcome to another episode of the Next Arena podcast. I'm your host, Alex Molden. And I wanted to share just a story of mine that I wish that somebody else could have told me. And it's not just a story, because we're going to pull out 5 different deals that can help you, okay? That can help you be able to talk about like who you are and what you're passionate about and actually what you really want to do. And I didn't have these tools when I was coming up after I finished playing my sport. So I was probably in my second year at Nike. So I was there for 15 years. And during my second year, I was training. So I was training individuals, Nike employees, sometimes the athletes that would come in to Nike World Headquarters. And I got a chance to link up with the VP of training. And if you remember in the 2009, 2010, Nike Spark that was the big deal. That was the deal that was going to revolutionize training, especially for these young athletes with Spark training, which stands for speed, power, agility, reaction, and quickness. And so they had these different training groups or events throughout the country. And you would go there and you can get a score that tested all those 5 facets. And anyway, I got a chance to meet with the VP of this of Nike training. And so I just remember going in there thinking that, man, I'm going to get whatever job it might be at the entry level, but I'm me. I dealt with training. I did that for all my years, right? Playing football. Man, they're going to have somebody who has a unique background in myself. Oh man, this is going to be it. And I went into this meeting, and when he finally, his name was Peter Rupi, and he had, we started talking. He talked about my experiences here at Nike, what I do now with training and whatnot. And then he asked me this question. It was simple, but he asked me this question. So Alex, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do here at Nike? Man, and I could not answer it. I was thinking that he would find, just by getting to know me, my background, my character, that he can be able to put me in a place that I would be able to thrive. I wanted him to answer the question for me, and that didn't happen. And I missed out on a huge opportunity to be in this deal that was blowing up at the time. And so there's 5 different deals that I want to kind of share with you guys that I wish I would have known. All right, because I could have came in there with some, with some ammo, with some ammunition. And I went in there just thinking that based off what I used to do, you will be able to answer these questions for me. And I know I'm not the only one that makes this mistake when we go into situations that can really help us, whether it's a job interview or job placement. So here we go. Really, it comes down to reading the game. And so there's 3 different principles that I really I put into my thoughts when I post, when the different programs that I run. Is read, react, relaunch. Read, that was one of the big things that we had to do, especially if you wanted to play a long time. You had to read different formations, different situations, the quarterback. You got to do all this thing. I'm sure it's like that in any other sport. You have to be able to read the situations around you and also read your talent level. And then you got to be able to react. Right? And then whether you have success and you want continued success or you failed, you have to be able to relaunch, right? Because the landscape is always changing. So read, react, relaunch. So when we talk about read, this is something that I wish I would have known. So discipline under a system, right? You have to have discipline. If you showed up unprepared, you wasn't going to get on the field. If you showed up prepared, you wasn't going to have a job for very long, whether it was in college or in the pros. You have to be able to have discipline. And discipline is, I mean, that's what operational excellence is. Being able to, no matter how you feel, is being able to show up time and time again. So having discipline. The second thing, coachability. The best athletes aren't the ones who know the most. They're not. They're the ones who can receive feedback, not get into their emotions, and being able to learn from it and then press forward. Take it, take that. That's a hard pill. I call it wearing a tight suit, right? A tight suit is not very comfortable, but you have to be able to take that and then be able to move forward. That's called it. That's emotional intelligence in action. Okay. The third thing, performing under pressure. If you can be able to explain these five things, you're going to have a great amount of success. But performing under pressure in the fourth quarter or the second half, whatever, performing under pressure, fourth quarter, 2 minute drill, 2 minute drill, bases loaded, however you want to, whatever you want to call it. But you got to understand you've been here. All right. And most people in different boardrooms, they haven't. So you got to be able to explain like that. That's an unfair advantage. Right? Your ability to perform under pressure, that's huge. The fourth thing you can be able to discuss, right, is film study, which really, when you really break it down, it's pattern recognition. Your ability to read, to watch people and get patterns. Like you were trained to read defenses. You were trained to read offenses. You were trained to read pictures. You were trained to, especially in these sports where it's not just one-on-one, but it's team oriented. You've been trained to do these things, right? You can anticipate plays. You can see what others miss. That's strategic thinking. You need to be able to talk to that. And that's what, and when you really break it down, that's what consultants charge like upwards of 500, 600, $700 an hour for. All right. So that's a gift. And you have real life examples of that. You just got to be able to talk to it. And then here's the fifth thing is having that team before self. You've been in team environments. Team before self. You know what a locker room does, right? You know what it does to ego, right? You've been coached to sacrifice like personal glory for a collective win, right? And that's what people call leadership. And that's rare. There's people call, I don't really believe in calling leadership and breaking it down like all these different styles, right? And most people lean on servant leadership. That's what it is. It's putting like sacrificing your own glory for the betterment of the team, right? How can you break that down and be able to talk to it? These are some 5 things I wish I would have been able to do. So here's where we get into like react. So I want you to think about it like on the field or on the court, on the diamond, whatever sport you played. On the field, it looked like blank. In your next arena, it looks like this. So let's say for discipline, right? Discipline, you had to wake up probably 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, something like that. But you had to do that and you had to go in the lift. You had to go run. You had to go work out in the off season. No matter how you felt, Now you've got a business that needs you to show up when it's not exciting, when it's not all flashy, when you don't have media people. That's the same skill. It's just a different field, right? Uh, being coachable, right? Being coachable. Those are one of the things like, man, you had coaches in your face correcting you, right? And a lot of time these coaches, you didn't pick the coaches. You didn't pick the coaches. But now maybe you have a mentor or it's a client or even a boss. And the ones who win are the ones who are still coachable. So you have to have that. Performing under pressure, right? Performing under pressure when it's the last play of the game or it's you're down by, I don't know, you're down by 5 runs when it comes to baseball. Like, what did you have to do? What did you have to do to be able to get the momentum back and move forward? Like, there's a lot of noise, right? There's a clock management, the crowd, right? So how can you be able to talk about like in terms of like a product launch or a big meeting or a tough negotiation? That silence before all that, you've been there. You've heard that all that stuff before. You actually trained for it. You need to be able to talk upon those things that can help you get you where you want to go, right? Film study. We already talked about that, but film study, your pattern recognition, you can be able to talk about a time in your sport where you had to watch film, you watched somebody, maybe it was you, and you saw some flaws in your game. You can be able to talk how you use that and how that can help you in whatever job or role or in entrepreneurship, how you're going to use that to help you push a product or turn into a successful speaker. And then a team before self, you can be able to talk about those tough times maybe when you was losing and you thought that you were being treated unfair, but you had to work through all that and trust what you were being told by your coaches or maybe your teammates. It's like team before self. How can you talk about that and then what that looks like in your next arena? So these are all like powerful things that you can be able to use, and they're your experience. It's not anything that's made up. Okay, not anything that's made up. So here's a simple 3-step exercise that I want to give you right now. All right. Step 1, name your top 3 athletic strengths. What did coaches always say about you? What did you do better than anyone else on the team? All right. Name those 3 athletic strengths. For step 2, translate that strength off the field. All right. So write one sentence that describes how it shows up off the field. And you can use this framework. Because I was blank as an athlete, I now have the ability to blank as a leader or entrepreneur. Step 3, claim it. Stop underselling yourself in interviews, in pitches, and conversations. All right. You need to start saying it out loud. It's your playbook. Own it. I was recently at a golf tournament. It was an alumni football tournament for University of Oregon. So a bunch of guys who played there back in the day, right? And they're all different. They're just recently graduated all the way to they played back in the 70s. But we all get together once a year and we play in a golf tournament. Well, I was playing with a couple of guys who I played with, I played football with back in the day. And, some of them, played offensive line. One of them played offensive lineman. Another one was a walk-on defensive back. We came in the same year. And he always prefaced things, I was a nobody. I was like, man, you're not a nobody. Man, you played at the collegiate level. And you might not have got a scholarship, but you were still a part of a team that went from terrible to end up winning the Pac-10 and going to the Rose Bowl. You was a part of that team. You need to own that. You can use that. That separates you. Nobody cares if you had a scholarship or not. So that moment that I had with Peter, it was that changed me. And almost the same as it changed me the first interview I ever got when I was applying for a nonprofit position and I didn't get the job because she told me to my face I didn't know who I was. And so this was just another, I guess this was a nicer version that Peter, he didn't tell me that I didn't know who I was, but there was an opportunity. What do you want to do here, Alex? And I didn't know. I couldn't even explain some of the things that helped me out on the field, how I can translate to how I could help out, the folks at Nike training, specifically with Spark. That was an opportunity that was blown. So this week, I want you to write down like 5 things you were great at as an athlete. So this is your homework assignment. Write down 5 things you were great as an athlete. Then I want you to sit with this question. Where is that skill showing up in your life now, right now? And where could it go if you actually believed in it? All right, those 5 different deals that made you great as an athlete, where is it at now? How is it showing up? If you do that, I'm telling you, you're going to be so much farther ahead than just not having, when that opportunity comes and you can't really push through it, you can't like take advantage of it, as you're going to feel that pain. So take these different tools that I'm giving you and really, but now you got to activate it. You can't just listen to it. Really put it into motion. All right. And let me know how that goes. All right. I'm here for you. I want to support you. You are different. You are a different animal. You're a different beast. So just make sure that you put yourself in situations, take the experiences that you had, and you got to be able to talk to it so you can own it. All right. I'll see you guys next week.